The U.S. deployed its once-neglected Growler jets to roar and scramble Venezuela's defense system, leaving Caracas blind and unable to protect its now-captured leader, Nicolás Maduro, according to a new report. The Boeing EA-18G Growler jets were among the more than 150 U.S. warplanes deployed to assist in the raid on Maduro's military compound on January 3rd. With the aircraft playing a key role in crippling Venezuela's response time, the Wall Street Journal reported. The aircraft isn't just effective, it's a nightmare for the enemy. Here's what you need to know about the signal-jamming jet. The Growlers, a series of 2008 jets that have seen a resurgence of popularity in the Ukraine war, look eerily similar to Boeing's famous FA-18 Super Hornet. This is because the two jets share the same body, and a majority of the same components, although they serve distinctly different purposes. The Growler isn't a fighter jet like its Super Hornet counterpart. It specializes instead in electronic warfare, locating enemy radars and jamming them. The difference can notably be spotted in what's underneath the wings. The Growler carries large pods under its wings and belly to detect enemy signals, and also carries anti-radiation missiles that can detect and destroy foreign radars. The sophisticated jet, which can reach a max of 1,381 miles per hour with a crew of 2, effectively unleashes a flood of signals to enemy equipment that drowns out the connection between the tech and their operators. Along with taking down communication systems, the Growler is also capable of simulating multiple aircraft on enemy radars, serving as important decoys to hide where the real threat is located. All this means the Growlers would have had a cakewalk blinding Venezuela's Soviet-era communication system, said Thomas Withington, an electronic warfare expert at the Royal United States Institute think tank. The Growler forms the mainstay of U.S. air power's electronic warfare component and would have located Venezuelan radars, jammed them, and performed a similar task with military communications, he told the Wall Street Journal. The aging systems would stand no chance against the Growler, which has proven itself to be popular in Ukraine, where electronic warfare has been the key to counter Russia's mass drone bombardments. With their systems scrambled and false targets filling their radars, Maduro's military could not properly respond to the U.S. raid, which deployed bombers, fighters, and drones to capture the Venezuelan dictator.
A shadow just fell over Caracas. A dictator got pulled out of power, but not with the usual gunfire and explosions you see on the news. They used a sound that shouldn't even exist in nature. Forget what you think war looks like. This is the end of an era, and it started with a noise that changed everything. January 2026. While most of the world was distracted, the American administration was moving with serious, terrifying resolve. We're talking months of preparation here. Deep inside secure facilities, elite units built a perfect, full-scale replica of the Venezuelan presidential compound. They memorized every door handle, every hallway, every blind spot on the security cameras. The mission was Operation Absolute Resolve. And let's be clear, this wasn't some polite diplomatic slap on the wrist. This was a calculated takedown of a narco-terrorism network that's had its boot on the region's neck for decades. Our intel guys tracked every single move they made, every shady shipment, every whispered secret communication. When the sun went down on January 3rd, they flipped the switch. The time for talking was over. This was the final phase of a strategy designed to crush a regime that thought it was above the law. When our specialized teams hit that compound, they didn't kick in doors with rifles blazing. They deployed tech that most people think only exists in sci-fi movies. Witnesses described an overwhelming sensory nightmare, a sound you don't just hear with your ears, but one that vibrates your entire skeleton. This was a directed energy weapon, a sonic wave cranked up to cause immediate systemic failure in a human body. The reports from the ground are terrifying. Defending forces just broke. They couldn't stand up. They didn't even know where they were. It wasn't a firefight. It was a cleanup on aisle 5. No return fire, no traditional combat, just total incapacitation courtesy of some scary new engineering. The effectiveness of this mystery tech is sending serious panic through global military circles right now. It signals a new era where your tanks and guns are obsolete because resistance is now physically impossible. They owned the place in minutes. The elite team grabbed the main targets, Nicolás Maduro and Celia Flores, and just like that, their whole house of cards collapsed. The extraction was clinical, like watching a well-oiled machine work. A heavy lift chopper yanked the former leader right out of his compound and flew him straight to a U.S. warship waiting offshore. One surviving guard described the scene as a total meltdown of order. He talked about an irreversible procedure where the air itself felt like it turned against them, causing massive physical trauma and draining every ounce of fight right out of their bodies. The White House made sure that witness account got amplified, highlighting just how untouchable American forces are these days. Seeing that guy, once so defiant, being hauled away in total silence, that is a stark warning to anyone else thinking about causing trouble in this hemisphere. Then came the hard cut, from the humid air of Caracas to the freezing reality of a New York courtroom. The former dictator stood there, looking small without his titles and authority, facing the music. The charges are massive. We're talking decades of running a criminal enterprise disguised as a government and facilitating global drug routes. As he entered his plea, the whole untouchable regime facade just crumbled on live TV. Back in D.C., the message was zero apologies. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt used those guard testimonies to hammer home a new doctrine of absolute deterrence. This capture wasn't just a win for law enforcement. It was a flex of unmatched power. The upcoming legal proceedings in New York are going to rip the lid off everything they did, finally giving a public accounting of the damage they caused to the Venezuelan people and the rest of the world. The shockwaves from Operation Absolute Resolve aren't stopping at the Venezuelan border. Across Latin America, politicians are suddenly changing their tune because they see the power dynamic just shifted violently. The message from up north is crystal clear. The party's over for unchecked chaos in the region. This operation just rewrote the rulebook on how the U.S. handles threats to our interests. Using advanced non-kinetic technology, that's fancy talk for weapons that don't blow things up but still take you out, proved that the deadliest strike is the one you don't see coming until you're already on the floor. As the dust settles in Caracas, now we have to figure out how to fix a nation broken by one family's greed. The whole world is watching, and for the first time in ages, it feels like a real reset button just got pushed.